guys, Annie here. Welcome back to My Mint Life. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I organize my lesson plans, as well as the materials for homeschooling a first grader and a preschooler. Let's jump in. Now, one quick caveat enter when you are watching this video. I am definitely a homeschool noob. My son was in a private Christian school prior to the coronavirus hitting the United States, and his school went to distance learning in March and maintained that for the rest of the year. They are in regular in-class school now, but I chose to keep him home. He is still in the homeschool that's affiliated with his private school, and he is doing the same curriculum, but the idea of my little one wearing a mask for 6 hours a day and all of the hoops that poor teacher is gonna have to jump through, I just thought it best to keep him home and make things in quarantine as normal as possible for him. I don't think any 6-year-old, any 5-year-old, probably up until you get into the tweens, is gonna maintain safe pandemic practices. That's my personal opinion. Maybe you have a rock star at home who does. I know that my boys won't. So I figured better safe than sorry. But again, I am pretty new at this. And one of the things that I noticed as I was researching homeschool is that, you know, there was no one thing that I knew would work for me. But I thought I'd share with you how I particularly organize my paperwork, our lesson plans, our material, and maybe you'll get a few ideas that might help you sort through this miasma that is homeschooling during a time of pandemic, because there are a lot of parents who are in my situation, homeschooling or distance learning for the first time. A lot of people are balancing work. So, you know, parents have had to learn how to navigate things like that. So I know that a lot of us are stressed and just kind of trying to figure it out. So I thought, again, I would share with you some of the things that have worked for me organization-wise to make our day run a lot smoother. So we're gonna go ahead and jump in to how I finally figured out how to organize for me, what works for us, and just little tips to make things go smoother for yourself. Okay, sorry, the hair had to go up. It's not as cute, but it's just way too hot. Okay, as I mentioned previously, we chose to keep the same curriculum as his school so that he is basically learning the same things. My first grader is basically learning the same things as his classmates when he returns to school, and that is the Bob Jones curriculum. My son did attend a private Christian school. This is geared toward more of a Christian faith, but it could easily be edited no matter what your belief system. I personally love the strong element of reading skills. It stresses reading skills. My son is an excellent reader, and this is the curriculum he's been using, so I was really happy with it. I was also happy with the fact that throughout each subject, this curriculum stresses character traits that I think no matter, you know, where you fall on the faith scale, you're gonna want to instill in your children: gratitude, forgiveness, compassion, things like that. It incorporates those qualities into each lesson. But again, if that's something that if that's something that you're just not comfortable teaching your child, again, you could easily edit it out if you wanted to keep it just strictly secular. And I am of the opinion that, you know, that's your child. You teach them the way you want to teach them. I'll teach mine the way I want to teach mine, and no judgment between us. So that's just me. But I wanted to give you an idea of what we are using and full disclosure on what it contains. Another thing that I wanted to make you aware of is that the curriculum that we bought is not specific to homeschooling. This is actually meant to be in-class lessons with multiple students. Now, there is homeschool versions of each curriculum on the Bob Jones website, but to buy all of it new is about 800 bucks. So it's insanely pricey. We got this used, and it is one iteration behind the most current edition. However, the only significant change really is in the animation and the art. So I'm completely fine with that in order to save a couple $100. But hey, if you're somebody who wants to spend $1,000 for curriculum, more power to you. You know, do you. If you don't want to spend anything and you just want to create your own, again, do you. So, but I just wanted to let you know what I have. And one of the challenges that I had to work with was tailoring each of these lessons for a one-on-one session at home, which actually hasn't been too bad. We have 7 main subjects, and I have to create a lesson plan per day for each subject. Now, the bulk of the work is done for me. Basically, there is a built-in lesson plan per subject in the teacher's manual. I will give you a close-up to show you what it looks like. And it goes chapter to chapter, lesson to lesson, and that is basically how I create my lesson plan. I write them down in my planner so I have easy access. I'm not flipping back and forth between pages in my teacher's manual. And so basically how I sit down and do my planning and get organized, every Sunday, either early in the morning or in the evening when I have my free time, I pull a bin subject by subject. I write down in my planner the pages that we are going to go through. Then once all of that is written out for the entire week, I just keep going and move on to the next subject until I have all 7 subjects written down in my planner. I have his stuff, my first grader stuff, G. I have his on the right column, and then I have O's stuff written down on the left column. O's I will explain after I'm done with this one because O is a preschooler and I didn't purchase a curriculum for him. So here is the teacher's manual for math, but it has review features, it has teaching tips, which is really, really nice. And then here are the lesson plans. So as you can see, it has the lesson number that we're on, the page numbers for both myself and him, and then the skills we're focusing on. And it has it listed out for the entire year. So you can see that it has lessons going for each chapter. This is incredibly invaluable to me. This makes things so much easier. I don't actually have to struggle with planning it out myself. It basically does the work for me. So I really, really appreciate that. And what I do is I record all of this information in my planner. So I went ahead and purchased this planner. This is the Simplified Planner. I have never used this planner before. I have an incredibly simple one right now that I got at the dollar spot in Target. And before that, I used the Living Well Planner, which was much more in depth. This is incredible. Like when they say simplified, they really, really mean it. It's basically just a full calendar and then your weekly spread. So that's why I chose it. I had flirted with the idea of getting an Erin Condren like big time lesson planner for actual teachers, but that's $50 and you know, I'm not going to use half of what's in there. So this seems to be working so far for now, and this I got at Walmart for $8. Can't beat it. So basically what I do is I have O's column here and what he's going to be working on, and then I have G's, which is obviously much more in depth, on the right column. So I have it by subject and I do it in order that I teach. So I record all the information in a way that makes sense to me. These are the pages in the teaching manual and the pages in his workbook. That way I can easily consult it as we're going through the lessons and I don't have to keep flipping back and forth in my teacher's manual. This has actually been incredibly helpful to have this written out and written out in a really, really neat, tidy way, which made me really, really glad that I bought this planner. So I have it really, really organized. 5 days a week, we work on math, phonics, and reading. And then Mondays and Wednesdays, we do writing and science. Tuesdays, Thursdays, we work on spelling and heritage, which is basically social studies. And then Friday, we work on a life skill and then a character trait. These two things I implemented. This is not in the curriculum. This is just something that I wanted to instill in my son. So when I say that I bought the Bob Jones curriculum and that's what I'm using, I am using it, but I definitely have a hybrid system that I have tailored. Sorry, my nails are really dirty. I was cleaning stuff. But I basically have a hybrid system that I tailored to how and what I want to teach my child. And I highly recommend that you really do your research on what it is that you want to teach them, and use this as an opportunity to instill in them the things that you value that they might not necessarily get from school. So that's just my little spiel there, but that's what we have on Fridays. Another thing I would strongly consider adding to your homeschool planning is just keeping a running bucket list of things activities, ideas that you have that you'd like to incorporate. Sometimes, inspiration strikes, you think of a really great idea, and then the next minute you forget it because the baby spilled something. So definitely keep a running list of things that you want to do, things that you think you and the kids will enjoy. I think this will go a long way in making homeschooling enjoyable for not only your children, but for you as well. Okay, once I have all of the page work listed in my planner, I then move on to the lesson itself. And I go through everything. And the main thing that I try to focus on are these two columns here, teacher material and student material. And that's where I pull my bins and I basically gather everything that I need to teach that lesson. This particular curriculum comes with manipulatives, and a lot of them have to be cut out of the book itself. So that takes some time. So I spend some time gathering all of this stuff for the lesson, and obviously I'm doing this for all 5 days. And then of course, there's a corresponding page for him, and I pull that out and I have it out next to my materials. I would just rip it out of the book. That way he's not dealing with this bulky book because the spine is damaged. So basically, once I've gathered all my materials for math for Tuesday, I go ahead and grab my folder. This is Tuesday's folder. Basically, everything that we are going to be working on, regardless of subject, for Tuesday will go in this folder. So I got this at Target. It's just a standard folder that you would put a report in for high school or something. And it has these built-in brads right here. And then I got this pencil pouch at the Dollar Tree, and it's just like a little zippered pouch that is meant to be used for pencils and the like and school supplies. I use this to organize the manipulatives that we are going to be using for a particular lesson. So any page work will go into the folder itself, and then I just slip the manipulatives in the pouch. So we've got coins. These are the little characters that go along with the math lessons. His name is Digit. He's got a seal friend named Cecilia, and we use those frequently. And that's basically it. Everything that I need to teach this lesson is in this folder, and I do that with every subject. For instance, here we have reading cards with sight words. We have new words for spelling and phonics. These will go in as well. And then we have larger manipulative cards. We have a card that is focused on the short vowel for E, the short E vowel sounds. Then we also have word families, and all of these cards per subject, I just paper clip them together and then add them into the folder as well. So everything that we will be working on Tuesday for our school day will go into the Tuesday folder. I don't have to search for anything. It's all prepared. Everything that we need to complete it, with the exception of the textbooks themselves, is in this file. And I do that for every day of the week that I'm teaching. And this has saved me so much time and so much sanity, and it just makes the day run so much smoother than gathering everything before we start each lesson. So I highly recommend searching for some sort of system that works for you in this manner. So that is basically how I organize my first grader, and that is much more involved than it is for my preschooler. Now for my preschooler is 3, so his work is much more simple, a lot less in depth, a lot less structured, I would say. So all of his work for the entire week is going to go into this folder. And as I had mentioned previously, I don't actually have a set curriculum for him. I didn't purchase one, and even though there are a lot of curriculums available that are free online, I just chose to do basically our own thing, things that fit his personality, that I know he'll enjoy, but that he also has to learn. So we have patterns. He has shapes, like little foam shapes to go with it to see if he can reproduce the pattern and then create his own. These are pages taken from a workbook that I got from the Dollar Tree. This book that teaches the alphabet is also from the Dollar Tree. We have some fine motor skill activities for him. He really likes doing these things. The boards themselves are from the Dollar Tree, and then these are just shoelaces, extra ones that my husband wasn't using. I have stuff for him, strips of paper for him to practice his cutting skills. The list goes on. And most of the activities that I have for him, I've gotten from Pinterest. Pinterest is such a great resource for homeschool information on how to organize different activities, particularly for this age group. For preschool, there's a ton of stuff. So I was really, really comfortable with just kind of creating our own thing. And so like I said, with both of them, I definitely do a hybrid system. I pull the best from each of the homeschool genres. There's a lot out there, and a lot of it's great, but not all of it's gonna work for your family, for your teaching style, how you are able and feel comfortable teaching, and how your child is capable and comfortable learning. So I definitely invite you to kind of roll up your sleeves and dive deep into this, but don't go too deep, don't get stressed out. And just look for things that speak to you and incorporate that into your schedule as best you can. You're not going to be able to do it all. And, you know, this is just a one step at a time thing. So I highly encourage you to just kind of keep from getting overwhelmed, as hard as that may be. So anyhow, so basically that's how I organize everything. That's how I do my lesson plans for the week. That's how I organize all of my material. It saves me so much time when it comes down to the nitty-gritty when we're sitting down doing our lessons. And so far it's working really well for us. Okay guys, that about wraps it up for this video. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you'd like to see more content like this, like I said, I am new and kind of documenting my journey in the homeschool realm. And if you are a homeschooler, definitely leave me any tips, tricks, websites, resources. Leave those down in the comments below, because you yourself are an untapped resource with probably better information than almost anything that's written by some PhD in an office somewhere, because you're actually doing the work. So please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Comment down below if you have questions, concerns, tips, tricks, whatever. Comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Happy homeschooling, and give yourself a pat on the back. You're doing good. I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.